Precious's father saw his daughter. He stood frozen in shock, unable to process the sight before him. What happened to you, Precious? And what is this foul smell I'm sensing from your body? Precious's mother whispered. Crying, she narrated everything to her parents, who stared at her in shock. Precious, how could you? Precious's mother cried out. Your father and I worked hard to make sure you never lacked, but look at how you have repaid us. Her father clenched his fists, his voice a mixture of anger and sorrow. Didn't you know that there are no shortcuts in life, Precious? The sun set over Lagos, painting the bustling city in shades of gold and orange. Cars honked incessantly, and the streets buzzed with the chatter of vendors. Somewhere in the heart of this vibrant city lived Precious, a stunning woman who always turned heads wherever she went. Precious had graduated from a prestigious university with a degree in public administration and landed a decent job at a thriving tech company, earning a salary that most people her age would envy. But for Precious, it was never enough. Her taste for the finer things in life demanded more. She longed for a designer wardrobe, exotic vacations, and a luxurious apartment in the upscale neighborhoods of Lagos. Precious began attending parties and networking events, hoping to meet people who could lead her to the wealth she so desperately desired. One evening, as she lounged in her elegantly decorated apartment, sipping from an imported bottle of wine she could barely afford, she scrolled through her phone. Her social media feed was filled with influencers flaunting designer bags, five-star dinners, and glamorous lives. Precious wanted that for herself, not just the semblance of wealth, but the real deal. Her best friend Mirabelle called her just then. Mirabelle was savvy and well connected, and Precious often envied her seemingly endless stream of income. Precious, Mirabelle's voice came through the phone, smooth and confident. There's a party happening tomorrow night, a high profile event. You should come. Really? Precious replied. I'm going to be there. Just text me the address. The following night, she donned a stunning dress that hugged her figure perfectly. Her makeup was flawless, and she looked every bit like the elite she longed to join. The party was held at an exclusive rooftop bar overlooking the city. As Precious entered, heads turned. Mirabelle introduced her to a few people, and soon Precious found herself in the company of powerful men and women. One man in particular caught her attention, a tall, dark, and impeccably dressed businessman named Kelechi. He exuded wealth and confidence, and Precious could tell he was used to getting what he wanted. Kelechi seemed equally taken with Precious. They talked for a while, and later that night, Kelechi decided to leave. He invited Precious to his hotel that night. When they got there, he offered her drinks and made an unusual proposal. He didn't seek romance or companionship. All he wanted was her company. He brought out bundles of money. I just want your company. That's all I want, and all this money will be yours. Precious found his proposal odd, but when she looked at all the money she was going to get, her reservations dissolved. She thought to herself, so if I agree to his proposal, all this money will be mine. She smiled and said, life isn't supposed to be fair. She gladly accepted his offer. When Kelechi was satisfied, he gave her bundles of money, totaling millions. Precious couldn't believe that was all she had to do to make such a large sum of money that could change her life in a minute. She had hit a jackpot, she thought to herself. This transaction between Precious and Kelechi went on for months. It felt strange to Precious that Kelechi didn't want a relationship with her or never talked about himself. He didn't even bother to ask about Precious. He was only interested in his deal with Precious. After he was satisfied, he would transfer millions into Precious's bank account and bid her farewell. Precious's account balance grew beyond anything she had imagined. With this newfound wealth, she began to live the luxurious lifestyle she had always dreamed of. She bought designer clothes, bags, and shoes, moved into a high end apartment, and frequented the most exclusive spots in the city. Her friend Mirabelle, though envious, was impressed by Precious's fortunes and also admired the riches her friend had accumulated so effortlessly. However, Kelechi suddenly disappeared 3 months after they met. He left no trace, and Precious couldn't contact him by phone anymore since he had blocked her. Precious was offended and wondered if she had done something wrong. But as days passed, she brushed it off, finding comfort in her newfound wealth. Weeks later, one morning, Precious woke up with a strange, heavy sensation on her chest and unbearable pain radiating through her back. Concerned, she went to the hospital, where doctors conducted numerous tests but found nothing wrong with her. She was given painkillers and told to rest. The drugs worked initially, but 2 days later, Precious's health worsened. Her breast started to itch badly, and the more she scratched to relieve herself, the worse it became. She visited the hospital again and tests were carried out, but nothing was found. She visited several other hospitals, but the results were the same. She was given a cream to apply on the itchy area, but it seemed that the more she applied the cream, the worse the itching became. It felt as if hot pepper was poured over her breasts. This went on for days, and soon Precious noticed that her breasts were dripping foul-smelling liquid. Her breasts also became sore, almost like hot water had been poured on them. Initially, her friend Mirabelle thought that her sickness was just a normal illness. But when it became so serious, her mind wandered back to the mysterious Kelechi. She recalled the strange relationship he had with Precious and how he disappeared without a trace and even blocked Precious. Mirabelle realized that Precious's sickness began soon after Kelechi's disappearance. Mirabelle walked up to Precious. I need to ask you something, Precious. Have you thought that this sickness could have something to do with Kelechi? I mean, think about it. You were healthy, and then Kelechi disappeared without a trace, and then your sickness. It doesn't feel like a coincidence. Precious's gaze shifted as she thought about her encounter with Kelechi. You might be right, Mirabelle. I think he did something to me because thinking about it now, this whole thing seems sketchy, but I don't know what to do. I need urgent help. I was blinded by the money and the luxurious lifestyle. I wanted to live the luxurious life celebrities were living. I was just enjoying the money that was coming in and didn't care much about how it was gotten, Precious said, crying bitterly. It's okay, Precious. We'll find a way to help you out. You'll be fine, Mirabelle said in a concerned tone. Precious's breast continued to drip foul-smelling liquid, and the sores refused to heal. Her breast felt heavy, and she could scarcely leave her house in that state. Soon maggots started coming out of her breasts along with the foul-smelling liquid. The pain was tremendous. Precious would cry all day, regretting what she had done to herself. She thought about her family and how they would think of her. She grew up in a loving family. Her parents made sure she had a good education. They were not rich, but they strived to give her a better life. But she wanted more, a life filled with luxury, glamour, and affluence. If only she had known, but it was too late because the deed had been done. Precious visited several doctors, but none could find out what was wrong with her. One doctor suggested traditional medicine. Mirabelle helped and took Precious to her village and prayed that she would be well. When Precious's father saw his daughter, he stood frozen in shock, unable to process the sight before him. What happened to you, Precious? And what is this foul smell I'm sensing from your body? Precious's mother whispered. Crying, she narrated everything to her parents, who stared at her in shock. Precious, how could you? Precious's mother cried out. Your father and I worked hard to make sure you never lacked, but look at how you have repaid us. Her father clenched his fists, his voice a mixture of anger and sorrow. Didn't you know that there are no shortcuts in life, Precious? Sometimes things that seem easy come with a greater price. Just look at yourself. Look at how you have destroyed your life, all because of money. They took Precious to a powerful herbalist in a distant village, holding on to hope that he might save their daughter. The herbalist looked at Precious and spoke in a calm voice. I see why you have come. This girl has made a grave pact, and the spirit attached to it is quite strong and powerful. Precious's mother trembled. Please help us. We have tried everything, but nothing worked. Please save our daughter. The herbalist sighed. It's not easy. Your daughter is bound to a covenant. What was taken from her is not easily returned. He prepared medicinal herbs to drive out the evil spirits that had been holding her, but the spirit remained unshaken. He looked at Precious's parents and sighed again. There's nothing more that I can do. I'm afraid that it is too late. Take your daughter home and spend your last days with her. Precious's mother cried bitterly. She felt helpless. One day, one of her friends who heard about her daughter's sickness paid her a visit. Eunice, I heard what happened. I'm so sorry. Mama Rose consoled. Precious's mother burst into tears. Mama Rose, I don't know what to do anymore. I can't lose my only daughter. Precious's mother cried. I know of a powerful man of God in the neighboring village. He is very powerful. Take your daughter there. I'm sure God will heal her, Mama Rose suggested. Taking the advice of her friend, Precious's mother took Precious to the church. When they got there, the pastor approached, his face filled with compassion and concern. He turned to her mother. I can see that your daughter has gone through a great ordeal. It is clear that she has been affected by forces beyond the physical. The devil has come to stay, but he is a liar because God is the greatest. We will pray for her and seek his deliverance. The pastor knelt beside Precious, placed his hand on her forehead, and prayed. All the prayer warriors gathered and called upon God for his deliverance. Their voices filled the church with an intensity that seemed to push against the forces tormenting her. They prayed incessantly until Precious felt an overwhelming surge of heat within her body. She screamed, clutching her chest. The pastor, sensing the moment, laid his hands on her, commanding whatever force was tormenting her to leave. Precious gasped as she felt a sense of relief. She felt a heavy weight lift off her shoulders. She quietly sat down on the floor, tears of relief running down her cheeks as she looked up to the pastor. Thank you so much, Pastor, she whispered. Thank God, my child, for he was the one who healed you, the pastor replied. Precious knelt down and raised her hands, praising God. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for healing me. Her mother held her hands and joined her in thanking God. But remember, Precious, the pastor said, keep this day close to your heart and always serve God, for he alone can keep you safe. Precious recovered slowly, and with time, she went back to normal. She educated young girls on the dangers of greed and warned them not to make the same mistakes she had made. Wealth and luxury mean nothing if they cost us our souls. Let us be guided.
Precious's story is a harsh reminder that chasing wealth through shortcuts often comes at a devastating price. True success comes from hard work, patience, and integrity. The allure of a luxurious lifestyle can be tempting, but when something seems too good to be true, it usually is. Life is full of choices, and every decision we make has consequences, some more severe than we can ever imagine. Let this story serve as a warning. Wealth gained dishonorably may bring temporary pleasure, but the cost can be irreversible. That's it for today's story, guys. If you enjoyed this video and found the lesson valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to NaijaTrends for more eye-opening stories and real-life lessons. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. Stay wise, stay safe, and see you in the next video.